From Tested.
And it's Jeremy from Tested.
And Jeremy and I are here at Oculus Game Days where we're playing a bunch of the launch titles for the Oculus Rift. Some stuff using touch controllers, a lot of stuff using gamepads.
Yep, a lot of things for this first time.
And a lot of different experiences. One experience we're about to jump into is called Eagle Flight. It's made by Ubisoft Montreal. So big developer, big studio. Can't wait to see what they do with their game. I want to chat with the developer and give you some impressions. All right, so I'm here talking with Olivier, who's with Ubisoft Montreal, and you guys are a big studio, but focusing now on VR. Your first game, Eagle Flight, which you guys are showing here at the Oculus Game Days. Tell me about how this game came about and what kind of research went into developing a game where you play as an eagle.
Yeah, so it's been my dream of flying since I was a kid, in fact, and I always wanted to do more, to have more than a dream. So I wanted to build it in VR. So in fact, like 18 months ago, I started with a few members doing some R&D to really study VR because it's a new medium and you have to exactly know how to develop on it. You can't force a game on it, you have to study the medium. So we did some R&D for a few months, for like 6 months, to really study, to use the most of it in terms of controls, of accessibility, of precision, and on comfort.
Comfort, absolutely.
Because the game is very comfortable for most. And it's because we studied really how you can be super comfortable with motion and how you can build a game from the ground up for VR to be perfect for VR.
Now, Ubisoft, you guys are known for making large-scale games like Assassin's Creed, games where you get to explore an environment. And along with flying comes with the idea that you can explore. So how are you allowing the player to fly and traverse through the environment at different speeds? And how did you tune it to a place where you can get the player comfortable to fly through a big environment?
Yeah. So it's part of the breakthrough, in fact, the fact that you are comfortable and you are precise. It's really something we studied to be perfectly played with the VR headset. Also, I like the fact that everybody can play the game. We can play the game on the free flight mode, even without a controller, so everybody can enjoy free flying in Paris, explore the city. And we developed everything to use the most of VR, so it's controlled with the head. And you can be super precise, super reactive, and super comfortable at the same time.
Tell me about this head control, because even though you're holding a gamepad, the gamepad's really used just to accelerate and decelerate and maybe activate items. The head control is not a head turn. Head turning gives you a little bit of a turn, but it's really the tilt. Is that mimicking like how airplanes fly?
Airplanes, I would say birds, in fact, so you mimic how birds are turning and tilting in the real world to turn around. And so, yes, you can look where you want to go, but we have the tilt controls that allows you to play comfortably and to play anywhere also, even if you're on a fixed chair. So some other games might not allow that, and we are allowing that, and it's part of our control breakthrough.
Now, because I'm using my head and tilting my head to bank and turn, I have to use that motion, I have to fly to explore. There's no ability to pause my flight and then look around.
In fact, you can.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you start at Notre Dame on what we call a lobby. And there will be, in fact, in the full game, several places where you will be able to land and just
to perch,
witness and perch and admire the city of Paris.
Now tell me about the maneuverability, because when I was playing, I could do really fast turns and really get low into the ground, but you can't do something like a flip, for example, like tilting my head up.
In fact, it's replicating exactly what you do with your head, the orientation of your head, and that's also why it's working on VR. It's so comfortable and precise. So there's also no inertia, it's super reactive, so as soon as you can turn your head, then it will be replicated in the game. So we are not only comfortable and accessible, but also very, very precise and reactive. And the more you play, the more you can witness that, and the more you can do stunts and go in the streets and have a super cool sensation of speed.
I also noticed that acceleration changes. As acceleration changes, you're doing things like almost creating blinders out to the left, blurring a little bit as you're going faster. Are these things that help enhance comfort so that you don't feel that sense of speed change and you can ease people into it?
Yes, it's part of the tricks we use. So we have many tricks, and it's kind of a recipe we use of what you call the blinders and some other things like the beak. Plus some other elements that we have.
And so it's showing you something close to your face, kind of a visual reference point
that's
your beak.
But it's also a way to have something like the eagle vision, an animal vision, to focus on what you have to do, and it's kind of the eagle vision also for the experience.
Now talk a little about the multiplayer, because it isn't just a single player, task completion, exploration game. There's actually competitive multiplayer. How does that play out here in Eagle Flight?
So in fact, what I like to say is that we have 3 games in one. I talked about the free flight for everybody. There's the solo mode. Also, there will be several hours of gameplay in this one, and the multiplayer it's very intense. It's 3 against 3, and there's really a lot of replayability. We've been playing it more than a year now, and then we are still playing it, and we are still improving our skills. And there's also advanced controls that you can discover playing it more and more, and many techniques like to cover your teammate or snipe from distance, etc. So there's really a lot of depth in the gameplay, and we are really a full VR game with lots of replayability.
How many environments? What's the scope of this game?
So it's the city of Paris, but we are working, for now it's mostly the island of Notre Dame that you can play on the demo, but you will have the whole city of Paris, the Eiffel Towers, the Montmartre, the Sacré-Cœur, etc. And every district will have its own theme, its own personality. And
things to discover as you fly and learn.
So it will be buildings, interiors, and the smaller streets, tight streets, and every district will have a special personified gameplay. So it's going to be interesting.
The film flight is wonderful. How fast relative to the real world are you calculating this? Are you moving at like 30 miles per hour?
Yeah, but we don't know exactly about the numbers, but we are trying to replicating what you feel being as a bird. So what you can do also is go in the sky and dive on your prey, dive on the other ones, the other birds of prey, or on the prey, the rabbit you have to grab, And when you can have really thrilling sensation of speed when you dive from a high point.
Yeah, it's definitely really thrilling to play in those multiplayer sessions. Thank you so much, Olivier, for chatting with me.
Thank you.
And good luck on the game.
Thanks.
Okay, Jeremy, Eagle Flight, they really wanted me to feel like I was the sensation of flying without flapping your hands.
Right. Now, you guys have actually tried a simulated bird before.
Yeah, the Birdly simulator, which
Right.
when Will and I tried that, it was amazing. Like flying is definitely a really appealing thing.
Who doesn't want to fly in their dreams? In real life, why not?
But here you only have one type of control. You have the gamepad, of course,
Yep.
but they wanted you to fly basically with an acceleration button and tilting your head.
Yeah, so let's explain, you are an eagle,
Right.
and you're flying through Paris, and you can fly all over the city, or you can dive down into the streets, and you can sort of navigate things, but as soon as you hit anything, you're dead, and you have to respawn.
So if I told you here's a flying game in VR, immediate concerns are comfort, because
Right.
you're moving, there's acceleration. So
Yes.
how did you feel about that?
Surprisingly good, and I think that they took a lot of steps to make me feel that way.
Yeah.
When you start the game, they have these bars so that you can't see the full up and down periphery. You never start from a standpoint and then accelerate. When you start the game, you're already moving, which I think the change from 0 to 60 is where people feel nauseous. I think if you start people moving, that's a smart thing to do in order to avoid motion sickness.
But it's not like you can't accelerate or decelerate, because there are trigger buttons
No, that's
for
true.
slowing down, and also the very active banking and turning
Right.
changes. And I noticed that they put blinders, basically. They black out a part of the screen or give you eagle vision or something to help with that. And it did help.
But there's also an eagle. You also see,
your beak.
Your beak, and there's a bit of a body there, which I think serves as the cockpit in the cockpit analogy.
Now you think of the cockpit analogy, if I'm playing a flight simulator, I can look around, because you can fly the plane, look around. Here you can't do that. You can't just rotate your head.
That's right, because that controls where you go.
That controls where you go.
Because I don't know if we explained that, but you control your direction by your gaze. And so when you're people playing this game, they're looking around the entire time. I mean, you're trying to avoid enemy fire. You're trying to, and we should also say it's a multiplayer game where you play against other eagles, and there's a capture the flag mechanic.
Right.
And you can screech, which causes this, projectile weapon to come out of you, and you shoot other eagles that way.
The multiplayer was really fun. The best part I had in multiplayer was when flying with two other teammates and seeing the eagles next to me and flying almost in formation.
Yeah.
That was thrilling.
Yeah, and then as people got more comfortable with it, they would start to peel off. One person would go for the flag, where the other guys would go for defense and come in. And once you get the flag, you want to stay low. You want to go through the streets, which requires quite a lot of maneuvering and slowing down and speeding up, because you're getting this signal that you're being targeted the whole time. And everybody up above can see where your arrow is, but they might not necessarily be able to see you.
Now, I didn't feel discomforted at all playing this, but I can imagine the amount of discomfort you feel. It's up to you. If you are twisting your head a ton, maybe flying poorly through the city or really aggressively, then I could see you maybe getting a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's one of those early experiences. I think when even the DK1 came out at first, looking around was the only thing you could do. And so there were demos that came out where people were flying demos like Superman emulators where you flew around the city doing that kind of movement, and it works really well. I think they did a good job of maintaining the motion sickness. I think this is going to be, a pretty fun game when it comes out.
Yeah, and what I really hope is maybe there's an attachment with a fan in front of you and speed up the fan, slow down the fan. That's a lesson I took from Berkeley.
That's a great idea.
Right? Because you want to feel the gusts. If you're slowing down, you want to feel your wings, you want the atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Eagle Flight, it's coming out soon, and we can't wait to play more.
Yeah.